Hello crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to cut out patterned paper using your brother's ScanNCut. Not only that, I'm going to show you a couple projects I created with this pattern paper, and I'm going to show you the results of cutting several different sheets of it. Let's get started. Okay, after my experimentation with this classic Garage Designer Series paper, let me zoom in, which is part of our Occasions catalog, I was wondering after I cut them out why I didn't use sticker sheets. So that's what we're going to do as a start to cutting out these cute little keys. I'm going to take a sticker sheet I have, and I'm going to peel off the back, and I'm going to put it on there before we cut it. So let's flip it over. We're going to put the sticker on this side. It's double-sided stickers. So you just peel it here, you peel it, and then my advice is, say it's sticky, and I'm going to put a little bit on, I'm going to put the paper down. So this is what I'm going to do. I want it here, this side. So I put the paper down on the sticky side before I get it all off, because it's kind of hard to manipulate. Okay, now I can peel the rest of it off. See? And it'll just stick right down there. And you can flip it over, and if there are any air bubbles, they'll come out. Save this because you can use this as extra wax paper for your other die cutting machines. Now we're going to cut through the top of this like we normally would with our ScanNCut, and then we're going to leave the backing on, but then we're going to get to peel these little keys off like they're stickers. It makes it much easier to embellish with. I'll show you more papers in the series in a little bit. Let's get out our mat and let's get started on the cutting. I'm just going to take out my mat, stick this somewhere in the middle, give it a good rub. I like to stick it in the middle because I have better scanning results in the middle than I do with the edges, but every machine has a personality. It's just up to you and where you put things. You'll figure out the best place to put things as you get more used to your machine. Okay, so I'm going to keep one hand on my mat while I load the mat. And let me zoom back out. We're going to load with this button here. Okay, putting my hand there. All right. Now, we're just going to go ahead and say, because this is a pattern, we're going to scan. Now we will adhere the Designer Series paper to a mat. Somewhere in the middle is a good idea. That's where mine scans the best, but it's up to you and the personality of your machine. I'm going to give it a rub. I'm also going to use my brayer. Make sure it's sticking on there real good. The advantage when you have that sticker sheet on the back is that it sticks onto the mat a little bit better than it normally would. I'm going to pull the machine closer. I'm going to hold one hand here while I load the mat. Let me tilt the camera so you can see that. I always hold one hand here when I load the mat so it goes in straight. And let me tilt the camera up so you can see the console. So those are our next steps. We're going to load, we're going to scan, we're going to recognize, and we're going to cut those keys. So when you turn on your machine, you're going to see pattern and scan, and we want to select scan, and we want to select direct cut because we're not saving this information. We're directly cutting out the pattern paper. And where do we temporarily want to store it? We want to store it on our machine, so we're selecting this option. And black and white recognition mode worked for every paper in this entire stack that I've tried, and I will show you all the ones that I've tried. So black and white recognition mode worked fine, even though this is color paper. I was surprised at how well it worked, even on some of the yellow ones. So leave it there, and let me load the mat. And I'm just going to say start. Now what it's doing is it's scanning. It's going to recognize the keys. And then I'm not going to make my crafty friends wait while it cuts. What I'll do is I'll pause the video and come back. Then I'll get to show you some projects I made with these, and we'll actually get to use these keys right away for a project I'm working on. Okay, so it's recognizing. How exciting. All right, let's see how it did. Say okay. And it did pretty well. So I'm just going to go with it. It didn't get every key, but if in 2 passes, it should get every key. So what do I mean by that, 2 passes? If you move your paper later to another side of the mat, you can get a lot better results. So just try that if it doesn't recognize every one. So I'm going to zoom in to show you how it did and tilt this up a little bit so you can really get a good look at how much it recognized. And so if your results are different, that's fine too. Don't worry about your results. Everyone's results are going to be different, because that's what happens when you use the ScanNCut. Every time you do it, your results are going to be different. And they're going to be different than someone else's depending on how much dirt you have on your mat or what have you. Now I'm going to ignore small object size. So go here and say, let's ignore about 1/4 of an inch. Just to get rid of those stray bits, like those little stars in the background. We don't need those. And we can edit them out later, but it's just easier to ignore the small bits. I'm going to put an outline distance around it at my keys of 0.04. I'm going to say OK, and let's see if we still need to edit out anything. We do. There's a stray bit there. There's a couple pieces of the keys that I'm going to edit out. Okay, so that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to go into this mode here. This is the editing. It looks like the little shapes. I'm going to toggle around to find the ones that I want. Okay, toggle means I just toggle through the selection. Okay, I could just hit them too. I'm just showing you how to do that. I'm just like to teach new skills. Okay, that piece of a key, a partial key, I'm going to hit the trash button. Okay, I'm going to keep on toggling. I think that was a partial key. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that partial key. There's no sense cutting out a partial key. Well, there is sometimes, if you want purposely for things to come look like they're hanging off the edge. Like I'm going to leave that top key there. I like that partial key. I'll use that. So I'm good. Now the last thing to tell you is the blade depth. I'm using a blade depth of 3, just like I normally would. Even though it's sticker paper, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to use a blade depth of 3. Because that's for designer series paper, and the sticker sheet will cut out with that. And it'll even leave the backing on the sticker sheet. I'm going to say cut. I'm going to say start. And I'll see you in a minute when I unload the mat. Then I want to go over the papers, and I'm going to go over the projects. Okay, it is finished cutting. We're going to say okay. We're going to unload the mat. We're going to say okay. I can always get the rest of these later, right? I don't have to worry about cutting them all out right now. Okay, so let's just tilt the camera down. And you can see how those came off. So I'm just going to take this off the mat and show you what one of these stickers looks like. We'll use it in just a minute. So you can see how they just peel right off. And these are already stickers. So how cool is that? All right, so then I just want to show you now the other pieces of paper in here and just to show you those and what I've done with those. I tried to cut a lot of these out, and I had varying degrees of success. So I just want to go through this nice stack. I like when they're 6 by 6. That's kind of cool. Okay. So you get 48 sheets in a pack. All right, these ones I've already made into stickers. So here's how they came out. These are the little gas cans. Here's how some keys came out. Here are how the tools came out. Okay. And here are some cars. And here are some speedometers, odometers, different things, different card gauges. And I just want to show you that not all the circles came out perfectly. Some have these little nibs hanging off the edge just because of the way the design went into the background, and that's fine too. But I just cut those off with the scissors. So I left them on there to show my crafty friends, but I just want to show you that you can fix your circles to cut them off, cut them off like that. And then you can take your circle punches and things, and with extra paper you have, like you just take your paper scraps and you can use maybe some circle punches to finish getting the rest of the gauges off that didn't cut out. Okay, so I had pretty good success with the paper. The ones I didn't cut out was for a reason. Sometimes the patterns were just too small like this, and I thought these are great for little mini pizza boxes and things. The patterns are already small, so I didn't bother cutting those out. Other ones had really great textures, and I didn't bother cutting those out. All right, so here's what you can do when you cut out the papers using your brother ScanNCut. Sorry, I need to just fix my camera for a second because it's telling me low battery. I hope I can get through this video, and I had to like clear off that message so that I could get through this video because I can't see my screen otherwise. See these little ones I cut out with the brother ScanNCut, and there's a nice key that I just used, and I decorated the mini pizza box, and then there's the little gauges, and I wrapped some Hershey's miniatures, which I'm really into lately because I have cute little wrappers and boxes for them, and some mini Tic Tacs. And there's there's the inside of the box with one of those little gas cans. So I mean, you can imagine how these little embellishments that you cut out with the Brother ScanNCut can go so far, and how you can just do so many projects because you have so many extra embellishments. Here's more things I cut out with the Brother ScanNCut. I got one motorcycle to cut out. I told you in one of my previous videos when we made magnets, we made car magnets. I said, I'm going to try to cut out these motorcycles, and I was very proud of myself for being persistent in cutting out a motorcycle. So that's a little bookmark. You're a classic. All right, so what are we doing with these keys? Well, that's a good question. What did I do with them? I think I buried them. There they are. It's buried down here. I thought since my friend is having a housewarming party that I could put some of these on a Home Sweet Home bookmark to go along with this card I'm making her. See, this is a card. I'm going to be cutting this out with the Brother ScanNCut, this little home, and that's going to go on a card, and I thought the bookmark will go with it, and I put some keys on the bookmark. Because to me, these don't, I mean, except for the fuzzy dice that looks like car keys, I don't think the rest look like car keys. I think they just look like they could be house keys, and it's like, hey, congratulations on your new home, here's a set of keys. So I was going to put them like that, and just make, I always use 3, so I embellish in groups of 3, so let's get a third one. Let's see, some of these yellow ones came out a little funny, and Tranquil Tide goes with that theme. So let's see, here's a grapefruit. Grapefruit, when I say grapefruit, I mean Grapefruit Grove. Sometimes the little nubbies, I call them nubbies, just extra little things get cut out with your Brother ScanNCut. But still, I love that I cut these into stickers, and I love that they're ready to go except for that, so I just fixing that. I mean, you're just watching me craft here, so let's see. I'm going to actually overlap that one, only because of where I put it. So I like that, and I can also put like congrats on there as well, and some little bling bling, but that's going to go along with the card that I make. All right, so those are the ideas for projects you can do after you cut out the Designer Series paper by Stampin' Up. So please subscribe to my channel for more crafty inspiration and tutorials on the Brother ScanNCut. See you next time. This is the Paper Chef.